Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahakana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Kupesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will cover Krishna's last two instructions in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verses 65 and 66 will be a heavier conversation. And next week, we will finish our Bhagavad Gita discussion. And at the next week, I will explain the plan with the next set of scriptures, starting with Nectar of Instruction, then Nectar of Devotion, then Shishopanishad, and then Srimad Bhagavatam. So, last class, I had provided you with a mandatory question that why would Krishna ask Arjuna to make a decision at 18.63 verse that you decide what you want to do now. And then in 18.65 and 66, Krishna is giving the most confidential knowledge. So Krishna is giving the most confidential knowledge after Krishna has already asked Arjuna to make a decision what he wants to do. So how do you make sense of this? Now, only few devotees attempted this question. Now, while giving the question, I had anyway mentioned that you all already know the answer. The answer being, I do not know the answer. So this has been the absolute last spiritual endeavor question in our Bhagavad Gita study. Now, across all batches, you are not alone. Across all batches, this has been the common trend that what we have learned at the start of Bhagavad Gita in chapter 1, that when I don't know, I should seek guidance from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So this question was absolutely meant that you connect with somebody, with a devotee, to ask, how do I understand this? Now, many of you are in the Japa group, and if you are not in the Japa group, well, join the Japa group. The devotees in that Japa group are from the previous batches. So what you will end up doing is you will end up discussing Krishna Katha. So that was the purpose of this question. I anyway told you. You all anyway know the answer. The answer being you do not know the answer, and there is no way for you to find out this answer. So you have to change yourself. That we always think that I have my intelligence. I should be able to figure this out. But no, we have discussed at the very start of Bhagavad Gita that at the start of my spirituality, I cannot trust my own intelligence. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are my intelligence. So I request all of you that connect with devotees whenever you have questions. Connect with devotees. Devotees will be able to guide you much better than what you will be able to uh, try to find out by yourself. Well, to begin with, it's very difficult to find out by myself because I have imperfect senses. And we have discussed at the very start of Bhagavad Gita in introduction that Vedic knowledge is not a matter of research. You have to hear from authorized sources, only then you will understand. So from those, anybody here wants to attempt this question right now? All right. So let me answer. So in 18.63, when Krishna asked Arjuna that deliberate on what all I have told you and do as you desire. So Krishna said, Asheshina, Shena, that meditate, contemplate thoroughly, contemplate deeply, and then as you desire, you can act. So Acharyas have described, specifically Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a prominent Acharya in disciplic succession, he has described that at this point, Arjuna goes into deep thought. What to do? How should I act? Krishna has said in chapters 2, 7, 11, 15 throughout Bhagavad Gita so many points. Therefore, Arjuna is just contemplating and contemplating and contemplating very seriously about what all should I do. There is so much that has been spoken and discussed and analyzed. Therefore, Arjuna is just in deep thought. Seeing this, Krishna's heart overflows with compassion. Krishna tells Arjuna that Arjuna, you do not have to think so deep. Krishna said, Arjuna, I see your sincerity. You are not whimsical. You are not independently minded. You are surrendered to me. And Krishna said, actually, you want to do what is best for you. And you also have faith in me that what I want from you is the best. Therefore, Krishna said, I will guide you what to do. That guidance Krishna provides in the next verse 18.64 and then gives the most confidential knowledge in 18.65 and 66. So when in 18.63 Krishna said, Ashesha Shena, that contemplate fully, that Krishna told Arjuna that contemplate as long as you want. But there is a limitation on how long one can contemplate. So we all living beings, we have been trying to think about what will give me happiness for so many lifetimes, life after life after life. But the living entity has always not been able to find the conclusion. So when Arjuna is deep into contemplation and unable to decide, therefore Krishna makes things even more clearer in the next set of verses by giving the most confidential knowledge. So we are on section 6, verses 56 to 78. Title is Glory of Bhakti. And this section 6, we are on subsection 3, verses 64 to 66. Title is Most Confidential Knowledge, Pure Devotional Service to Krishna. Deepa, 64 translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, uh, 64, verse 64. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Hare Krishna.
So this is the most confidential knowledge. So in 18.63, the previous verse, if you look at the Sanskrit, in the second line, there is a word Guhyatara. So from the scale of good, better, and best, Guhyatara means better. That's more confidential knowledge. And in 18.64, in the very first line, Krishna says Guhyatama. So from the scale of good, better, best, Guhyatama means this is the best, most confidential. And then Krishna also says Bhuyaya, means again. He says, oh Arjuna, here, these are supreme words. You are very dear to me. Therefore, for your benefit, I am speaking these words. So, if you just look at 18.64 Sanskrit, how many layers of superlatives has Krishna added? So first is Guhyatama. Guhyatama means from the good, better, best scale, this is the best, the most confidential knowledge. Then the second line says Parama Vacha. So if you recall, when you had done the homework, what is the middle of Bhagavad Gita? So it was 9.34 and 10.1, and I had described at that point that 10.1 has the words Paramavacha. You can look up 10.1. The word is Shrunume Paramam Vacha. And Krishna is repeating that same line here. Shrunume Paramam Vacha means these are supreme words. So most confidential knowledge and supreme words individually are both superlatives. And Krishna is combining both superlative words, Guhyatama and Paramavacha, in one verse to highlight how glorious is this knowledge that Krishna is going to speak in the next two verses. Questions, comments, realizations? So 18.65 is obviously a key memorization verse. 18.65 is also the repeat verse, so almost a repeat of 9.34. So we'll discuss what's the differences. So let me first recite 18.65 in Sanskrit, and then you all can unmute and recite one line after me, please. So 18.65. Manmana bhava mad bhakto maryaji mam namaskaru mam evashyashi satyam te pratijane priyo asime. Everybody unmute and recite one line after me, please. Manmana bhava mad bhakto
Manmana Bhavamadbhakto
madhyaji mam namaskuru
Madhyaji
Namaskuru.
mam evashyashi satyam te
Mahiveshwasya
pratijane priyo asime. Malti, translation.
Always thinking of me, because my devotee worship me and offer your homage unto me, thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna says, do these four things. Always think about me, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisances unto me. By these activities, you will certainly come to me. This I declare, because you are very dear to me. So this 18.65 verse is very important, because the verse is describing the supreme instruction, plus the verse is also describing Krishna's affection. So 18.65, the first two lines, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru, is identical to 9.34, first two lines. That fix your mind on me, offer your heart to me, worship me, offer obeisances to me. So all these are for us to do at our bodily level. So these four items of Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru indicate that we offer our entire existence to Krishna. When we offer our entire existence to Krishna, is already mentioned in 9.34 and is again recommended here in 18.65. So what's the difference between 9.34 and 18.65? So in 9.34, after the first two lines, he said, Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru. And then in the 9.34, third and fourth line, Krishna says that you will come back to me by being engaged in the way 9.34 explains the first two lines. That if you are engaged with in the way which is Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru, then you will come back to me. That if your heart and soul are engaged like as described in 9.34 first two lines as Man Mana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskaru, then your Atma is Mat Parayana. The last line in 9.34. That your Atma is devoted to me, then you will come back to me. So in 9.34, the onus is on the devotee. That if you do 9.34 first two lines. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. If you do these four, then you will come back to me by being engaged in the man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru way. Meaning the result is atmanam mad parayanaha. By being completely and wholeheartedly your soul devoted to me, you will come back to me. So in 9.34, Krishna is emphasizing what the devotee needs to offer in the relationship. That atmana mad parayana, that you act in a way of man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, and the soul gets offered to Krishna. So that's what the devotee brings to the relationship. That atmana mad parayana. Now in any relationship, there are two aspects. Example, relationship between person A and B. So what person A is ready to offer in the relationship is important. And what person B is ready to offer in the relationship is also important. So in 18.65, Krishna is stating what Krishna will bring to the relationship. What Krishna will bring to the relationship, Krishna describes in 18.65, the third line. He says, Satyam te. That what I am speaking is truth. And he says, Mam eva shyashi. That you will certainly come back to me. So why Krishna says Satyam te? That this is truth is because this is such an extraordinary thing. Now, bhakti seems to be very simple. That just think of Krishna, worship Krishna. That somebody may say that how by doing these simple things of thinking of Krishna, worshipping Krishna, one can attain the supreme perfection of life, attain the perfection of going back to Godhead. Therefore, Krishna says, to ensure, says, Mam eva shyashi satyam te, that yes, it is possible to attain the supreme perfection simply by thinking about Krishna, by worshipping Krishna. And Krishna is saying, this is the truth. Be confident about it. And then Krishna goes on to say in 18.65, the last line, he says, you are very, very dear to me. Krishna says, Pratijane. Says, I am declaring this. Pratijane means a proclamation, a promise, a declaration, a public declaration. So the word Pratijane has been used in 9.31 also. Krishna says, O Kaunteya, declare to the world that my devotee never perishes. So in 9.31, of course, Krishna asked Arjuna to make the declaration to the whole world. And here in 18.65, Krishna is making the declaration himself to everyone. Krishna is saying, to help you attain that perfection, I guarantee you, you just do these four things described in 9.34, the first two lines, and 18.65, the first two lines. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. That you redirect your heart towards me, and then I will ensure that you will come back to me. So when there is a proclamation, a public declaration, then there is greater assurance. Therefore, here Krishna is saying, Pratijane, I am making a public proclamation that you just do these four things. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, and you will come back to me. Now, if you think it is just a matter of honor for Krishna, no, it is not just a matter of honor. Rather, it is also a matter of heart. So, pratijane, of course, is a matter of honor that somebody is making a declaration. But then Krishna says, priyo asime, that you are very dear to me. This is the matter of heart. That actually Krishna is saying, I love you. And naturally, I will take you back. Therefore, Krishna is saying, if you do man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, what Krishna will do is, Krishna will honor or is declaring that you will come back to me. So this is a matter of honor as well as matter of heart. So Krishna is actually showing his heart to all of us. Krishna is revealing his intimate emotions that are present in him, in his heart, so that we can offer our heart to him, so that we can turn towards him. I will pause here for questions, comments, realizations. Monarch, Mansi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I did not get in 18.65 that line what Krishna will bring to the relationship, because both the verses says that you will come to me. So, Prabhu, how can I understand these two verses different?
You are correct. Both verses say you will come to me. Krishna says, Priyo asime. Right? He says, Satyam te and Priyo asime. Yes, he also says Pratijane. So these three words are the different. Pratijane, he says, I am declaring. What is declaring? Satyam te, that this is truth. And Priyo asime. He says, you are very dear to me. If you do man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskar. Monarch.
Okay, Prabhu, got it. Prabhu, can I ask a further question, please?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Prabhu, when Krishna, okay, in 9.34, he's not like telling these two words, Pratijane and Satyamte. But when even if he's not telling, but when he's saying something, right, in 9.34, that is 100% a guarantee, right? Because it is spoken by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So,
You are correct that what he has already spoken in 9.34 is also correct. Now understand that Bhagavad Gita is one conversation. So Krishna has given so many points and Arjuna is stuck. And Krishna says, he picks the middlemost verse. That's why you got this homework when we had done chapter 9. He picks the middlemost verse. He says, this is the most confidential knowledge. And he says, yes, you are very dear to me. Therefore, I am going to take you back. Right.
okay, got it, Prabhu. Thank you.
Rest of you, questions, comments, realizations? We will be having some fun with the last verse. So now's your time to ask some questions. All right. So Krishna has made it crystal clear in 18.65. So there was actually no real need to speak 18.66. But Arjuna is still thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, even after 18.65, that Krishna has given the most confidential knowledge. So question comes up that yes, you are telling me to do man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji maam namaskaru. But there are so many other things also described in Bhagavad Gita which can be done. And these other paths described in Bhagavad Gita, they are not a dharmic path, they are all religious paths. So, because there are so many other things that can be done, so Arjuna is still thinking, so exactly what should I do? And this question of Arjuna, Krishna addresses in 18.66, and therefore Krishna also goes on to speak 18.66 about the surrender to Krishna. So have undivided attention. So somebody look up in 18.66 the word parityaja. What's the meaning of parityaja? Somebody?
Abandoning.
Yeah, very good. Abandoning is there in the very first line. That to give up, to abandon. So 18.66 is obviously also a key memorization verse. So I will recite in Sanskrit. Sarva adharma parityaja. What did I say? Did somebody notice? What did I say?
Adharma.
Rest of you, did you notice what did I recite?
Yes, Prabhu, adharma.
Sarva
Yeah,
adharma.
Prabhuji, Adharma.
So the verse says sarva dharman parityaja. So does this make sense? Should it be sarva adharma parityaja or should it be sarva dharma parityaja? Now, even the correct line in the Bhagavad Gita, which says sarva dharma parityaja, even the correct line, does that make sense? Because Krishna has come to protect dharma, to re-establish dharma, and now he's saying to give up dharma. So here's a question for all of you. Make it very interactive. This is a very fun verse. So where in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has said that he will come to protect dharma and re-establish dharma. All of you should know by now, or at least be able to look it up.
4.8, Prabhuji.
Yeah, very good. So Riya and Subhash Prabhus are correct. 4.7 and 4.8, Krishna says that when dharma goes down, I come. And in 4.8 he says, dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna says to re-establish dharma, he will come. Well, if he comes to re-establish dharma, then why in 18.66 Krishna is saying to give up dharma? You all realize you all are having fun? You all realize which sentence makes sense? Sarva adharma parityaja or sarva dharman parityaja? Anybody having fun with the conversation?
Yeah, Prabhuji, like I never
Prabhuji.
think of the word adharma here actually.
Okay. Okay, it's only few devotees having fun. Okay. So let me explain. So His Grace Chaitanya Chandas has explained this in his lecture as well as during his one of the visit in Toronto. He explained this point that one time Chaitanya Chandas had gone to a Hindu temple in India where there was some devotee and there were some other devotees following him reciting the verses. And they were reciting this 18.66 verse. So these devotees at the Hindu temple in India, it was not ISKCON, I think it was some other temple. So they were reciting 18.66 as Sarva Adharma Parityaja. Adharma. So Chaitanya Chandas inquired, and this person who was leading the recitation, he said that Krishna came to the world to establish Dharma. And there is a typing error that somebody missed the word A before the word Dharma. Therefore, these set of devotees, they added the word A before Dharma, and therefore they were reciting 18.66 as Sarva Adharma Parityaja. That give up adharma. Now, Chaitanya Charitas provided the correct meaning and stated to them that Arjuna did not become adharmi after hearing Bhagavad Gita. So, now I have set the base. Let us do the correct recitation of 18.66 with the word dharma, and I will explain what exactly is Krishna asking us to give up. So I will recite 18.66 correctly, and then you all can unmute and recite one line after me, please. 18.66, correct. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksheshyami ma sucha. Everybody unmute and recite one line after me, please. Sarva dharman parityaja
Sarvadharman
Parityajya
parityaja
mamekam sharanam raja
mamekam
Mamekam
sharanam
Sharanam
vraja
Raja
aham tvam sarva papebhyo
Aham
aham tvam
Tvam Sarva
sarva
Papebhyo
papebhyo
Moksheshyami ma sucha.
Mokshishyami
mokshayami ma
Masucha.
sucha.
Naresh Prabhu, translations.
Hare Krishna. 66 translation. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna says, give up all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I will free you from all sinful reactions. Do not doubt. Do not hesitate. Now here's a question for all of you. Make it interactive. So the hippies also gave up everything. They completely abandoned all their duties, completely abandoned all varieties of religion. So is this 18.66 Sarva Dharman Parityaja? Everybody, please try to answer. Or if you don't know, would you like to know? Nobody? Nobody wants to know?
Prabhuji, I don't know how to answer that question.
All right. Okay. So the answer is by doing Sarva Dharman Parityaja alone, like the hippies had given up their duties, that such giving up is tamasic. Such Dharman Parityaja did not make the hippies as devotees. So the second part is important. Says Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. That surrender unto me. Then the hippies became devotees. Then they were able to follow Bhagavad Gita. Now another question will come up. Krishna says, surrender only unto me. Why only me? Now someone will call this statement of Krishna that surrender only unto me as a fanatical statement. That surrender only to me. And some may also consider Krishna's this statement, surrender only unto me, to mean that do not surrender to Jesus or Muhammad or to anyone else. Just surrender unto me. So that's not correct. The correct understanding is that when Krishna is saying surrender only to me, it is through Krishna's representatives is how we surrender. And his representatives can come in different ways in different times. And his representatives can also elevate people gradually. So the statement like this, which says surrender only to me, or when Bible says that I am the only way and the light, none shall go to the Father except through me. Jesus is saying this. So these statements simply mean we need to follow the word of God, not the literal meaning that surrender only to Krishna. No, that's not the meaning. You surrender to Krishna or Krishna's representatives is identical. The point is we need to follow Krishna's instruction. Everybody with me so far?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, my question is if we consider Christians or Muslims and like their prophets or their gods as Krishna's representatives, then is their final destination also like if they pray to Jesus, and is their final destination also Goloka Vrindavan or no?
So depends on rasa. If they follow Jesus properly, they will attain spiritual world. Rasa will depend on the rasa. The challenge with Christianity is that they don't have authorized purports to the Bible. Therefore, there are individuals with the four defects writing commentary, and they have come up with a misunderstood commandment that one of their commandments says, thou shalt not kill. So to satisfy their tongue stays, they have come up with the explanation that the soul in animal body is different and it is okay to kill that soul. And the soul in human body is different, so we should not kill humans. Well, that's not what Jesus meant. That's not what Bhagavad Gita says. Thou shalt not kill will apply to all living entities, no matter what the 8.4 million life form is. So if Christians follow Bible and Jesus properly, they will also attain the same spiritual world. But they are not following properly. That's where the challenge lies. Pratyush.
Yes, Prabhuji, and just one follow-up quickly, if I may. How about some beliefs which are directly contradictory to Hinduism compared to Christianity? For example, they have a strict intolerance towards idol worshippers per se, and they don't extend the same grace to us that we extend to them because of core contradictions. So how do we tread that?
So Bhagavad Gita is Sanatan Dharma, is for the soul's eternal swabhava of being the eternal servant of the eternal Master Krishna. All these thousands and thousands and thousands of religions we have in the world, they are made by humans. They are imperfect. Bhagavad Gita does not have any of these religions. It doesn't say anything about religion. It just says Sanatan Dharma. Pratyush.
Understood, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very good. I still have a lot of talking to do. Now, this statement, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja, is this an exclusivist statement? The answer is no, it is not exclusive because Krishna is using the word for other paths also as dharma. Therefore, the very first line we discussed, should it be a dharma or dharma? No, Krishna is still saying sarva dharman parityaja. The other paths are also dharma. Krishna is not rejecting all other paths as false. Other paths are not wrong. Rather, the correct understanding is other paths are lower paths because they grant you lower destination. It is the path of bhakti only, bhakti to Krishna, that leads to the fastest and the highest elevation. Therefore, Krishna is not being exclusivist. In fact, Krishna has himself delineated all these different paths that lead to different destinations. Krishna is described in 9.25 specifically, as well as other places. So the attaining of abode of demigods by demigod worship is not a small thing. Attaining Swarga Loka is not easy. It is huge. But simultaneously understand that attaining Swarga, you are still in the material world. You are not leaving material world. Therefore, it's a lower path. Attaining spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha, is such a great thing. Therefore, Krishna is saying, bhakti is the best path, because only by bhakti you can attain spiritual worlds of Goloka Vrindavan and Vaikuntha. Other paths are also potent in their own way, but the other paths are not as potent as bhakti. Everybody with me so far? We have real silence today, okay? So there is apara dharma, there is adharma, and then there is paradharma. So I described three words. I'll explain these three. Aparadharma, adharma, and paradharma. Paradharma is our pure devotional relationship with Krishna. And the dharma that helps us develop pure devotion are the 9 processes of devotional services, which, which are described in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.23. Starts with Shravanam Krishna. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Now, apara dharma can be duty to family, duty to dynasty, to country, to humanity. And adharma is sinful against scriptures. So if you recall Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, Arjuna says Kula Dharma Sanatana. He was so overwhelmed that he is called Kula Dharma, means the dharma to take care of family. He is calling Kula Dharma as Sanatana. No, serving Krishna is Sanatan Dharma. So the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna had the conflict at the start between his Kshatriya Dharma and Kula Dharma. And this is resolved philosophically here, that both Kshatriya Dharma and Kula Dharma are apara dharma. On the other hand, para dharma is man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, is of pure devotion to Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is asking Arjuna and to all of us to follow paradharma of man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Therefore, Krishna is also saying sarva dharman parityaja, means give up apara dharma because they are lower. They are still dharma. Apara dharma is not a dharma. So therefore I described all these three terms: apara dharma, adharma, and paradharma. So Krishna is asking Arjuna and all of us to choose paradharma over aparadharma. And therefore he says in 18.66, Sarva Dharman Parityaja. So when he says give up all other religions, all other dharma, he is referring to aparadharma. And then he says Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. So he said, Krishna is saying accept, means take up the paradharma of pure devotional service to Krishna. So Krishna says, take shelter of me. But how do we take shelter of Krishna? Now, we have heard in 7.14, we heard from Chaitanya Chandas as to what is or how do you surrender? What exactly is surrender? So surrender or shelter is not passive. Surrender and shelter is by doing activities in the world, doing devotional activities in the world. So surrender means choosing actions that take us towards Krishna and rejecting actions that take us away from Krishna. So Draupadi, after trying for by herself, raising her hands and surrendering to Krishna, yes, it is a form of surrender. Simultaneously, Arjuna ferociously shooting arrows with full determination is also surrender. So Arjuna is not folding hands in surrender. Rather, Arjuna is following Krishna's instructions and acting on Krishna's instruction is also surrender. Serving Krishna is also surrender. So the basic principle of spiritual life is harmonizing our will with Krishna's will. So this harmonization can be through activity, sometimes also through inactivities, meditation also. So essentially, surrender means giving up our will and accepting Krishna's will. Now, how we will accept Krishna's will and how we will act on Krishna's will, that will vary according to time, place, and circumstances. So it's not a blanket statement for all times and for everyone. No, you have to judge according to time, place, and circumstances. So we're doing our sadhana diligently, that is also surrender. We're doing our seva diligently, that is also surrender. When we know certain situations are tempting and we move away from those tempting situations, that is also surrender. Sorry. When we feel our senses are getting agitated and we reject that agitation with determination, that is also surrender. So surrender can be in many forms. Essentially for us, we should focus on constantly choosing anukulye se sankalpa, means what is favorable for bhakti I will accept, and simultaneously pratikulya se varjita, means rejecting what is unfavorable for bhakti. Anukulya se sankalpa, pratikulya se varjatam is also surrender. If we choose the desires and thoughts that take us closer to Krishna, that is also surrender. I have described so many points on how to surrender. Of course, they are all repeat from what we have all collectively heard from His Grace Chaitanya Chandas. I still have a lot of talking to do. I will pause for questions, comments, realizations. Shivanji.
No, Prabhuji, no question.
All right. Monarch Mansi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question regarding this surrender in text 66. So, in Bhagavad Gita 2.7, Arjuna already surrendered to Krishna and then Krishna spoke to Bhagavad Gita. And here Krishna is again asking to surrender. So, Prabhu, is it a different degree of surrender Krishna is talking about? Or like, how can I understand these two verses?
So, yes, you are correct that Arjuna has already surrendered and he said, now give me instruction. So here Krishna in 18.66 is saying, just follow my instructions. That's what the only difference is. Actually, there's no difference because Arjuna did ask, please instruct me. So that's what Krishna is repeating here. By the surrender means, I already described the various points of surrender. That following Krishna's instruction is surrender. That's what Krishna is saying here.
Got it, Prabhu. Thank you.
Subhash.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have a one confusion in surrender and endeavor. Like some people say Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam and Krishna handles everything. We don't need to worry about anything. So in this case, Prabhuji, do we need to endeavor actually? Because some people say whatever is supposed to come in life, it come itself. So my question is like, Prabhuji, how to manage surrender to Krishna and endeavor on what we do in life, Prabhuji?
So we already discussed that surrender is not passive, right? We have to act according to Krishna's instruction, which Krishna has given in scriptures, as well as we also get instruction from our spiritual master. So devotional service, bhakti, you will soon hear this discussion in upcoming Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada translated bhakti as devotional service. Prabhupada did not translate bhakti as devotion only. He said devotional service. So devotion is internal, but that has to be expressed externally as service. That is bhakti. Now, when you have a relationship with someone, when you are caring for someone, say for example, a mother and child, the mother is serving the child. The child may be as naughty as he can, but the mother is serving, right? So that's where the love is. That's what Krishna is also asking, serving. And we have discussed this throughout Bhagavad Gita. And 11.55 is the sum and substance of Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada has described that doing devotional services to Krishna is the sum and substance of Bhagavad Gita. Subhash, everybody?
So
Subhash?
Prabhuji, sorry, like we mentioned in chapter, I think 18, there are five causes of action. One is endeavor there. So still we need to do endeavor then, right? Like in our daily tasks or something also, we need to do endeavor in all cases.
We absolutely need to do endeavor. So yes, few things are destined, and we have discussed towards the end of chapter 7. Destiny is like a weather forecast. That the situations that come in front of us, that are destined. But just as a weather forecast, I cannot change the weather forecast. What I can do is I can put on a jacket if it's going to snow and I'll be okay. But if I do the wrong choice and go out in freezing cold without a jacket, then I will freeze. So destiny does not choose our actions. Destiny only presents the circumstances in front of us. We still have our free will. We still have to make the right choice. And the whole Bhagavad Gita is a book of choices. Krishna is wanting us to make that right choice, and therefore he says, do man mana bhava mad bhakto. Madhyaji mam namaskaru. Those are also activities of the body. Plus, do devotional services. So we have discussed this verse 9.33 multiple times. Subhash Prabhu, you want to read 9.33 translation?
Okay, Prabhuji. 9.33 translation. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees, and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me.
Right? He clearly says, engage in loving service to me. Subhash?
Yeah, Prabhuji, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Path Pratyush.
Hare Krishna. My question was, oftentimes a question comes, what comes first, country or religion? As you said, Prabhuji, that aparadharma is basically duty to country. So, for example, if a soldier is at the border defending a country against incoming enemies, what should he prioritize, country or religion?
He should prioritize paradharma. Right? Country and religion are all still lower. Religion, I'm assuming you're referring to the religions that we have in the material world. Paradharma means man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So yes, for a soldier, the duty is to fight for his country, but he should remember Krishna. We have established in 18.46, 47, 48 that first thing in the morning, establish a connection with the Lord through your sadhana. Then whatever you do in the world will also get offered to the Lord. Now do understand that nowadays these soldiers, they are anyway not fighting a righteous war. So it's a little difficult to correlate the way Arjuna fought the war. Nowadays it's more of at bodily level. Tish.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Everybody on the same page?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. I thought I made everybody sleep. So the last point in this 18.66 verse is the Sharanagati verse. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur elaborates on the 6 elements of surrender with the Sharanagati verse. So if you go to the 18.66 purport, in the middle of the purport, there is this verse which starts Anukulyasya Sankalpa Patikulyasya Varjanam. So I will recite. You all can also try to memorize this Sharanagati verse. So it says, Anukulyasya Sankalpa Patikulyasya Varjanam Rakshashyato Vishwaso Goptratve Varnam Tatha Atmanikshepya Karpanye Sadvidhi Sharanagati. Ria, you want to read the translation below this Sanskrit verse, 1866 purport? The paragraph, it starts, according to the devotional process.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, then just the first few lines, right?
You can read that paragraph.
Okay. Hare Krishna. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order, but if by executing his duty one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, All his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis for his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions. Hare Krishna.
So Pratyush Prabhu's inquiry about the soldier, Prabhupada answers in the purport that one may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order. But if by executing his duty one does not come to Krishna consciousness, then all his activities are vain. Shrama eva hi kevalam. So these 6 items, we already discussed the first two, anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. That anukulyasya sankalpa means whatever is favorable for bhakti, I will accept. And pratikulyasya varjanam, whatever is unfavorable for bhakti, I will reject. Then raksheshyato vishwato, that faith in Krishna, that Krishna will always protect me. So this faith grows gradually as we see Krishna's protection over a period of time. Then goptratve varnanam, that Krishna is my maintainer. So raksheshyato vishwato is when there is danger, Krishna will protect. Goptrate varnanam means in general, Krishna is my maintainer. Then it says Atmanikshepa Karpani, means my whole existence is dependent on Krishna. And Karpani means without Krishna I am useless. I cannot do anything. So all these are desirable, which we should try to cultivate more and more. These 6 items of Sharanagati, these are elements of surrender. Now, do understand that surrender is gradual. Surrender is not like you turning on a digital switch. Therefore, on our day-to-day basis, we should do anukulyasya sankalpa, that accept whatever is favorable for bhakti, and we should do patikulyasya varjana, that reject whatever is unfavorable for bhakti, for our gradual development. So surrender is not passive. We already discussed at great length. So Draupadi surrendering with her arms raised, yes, that is definitely surrender. Because that was extreme danger. And Arjuna shooting arrows ferociously is also surrender, because Arjuna is following Krishna's instruction. And lastly, in 18.66, Krishna says that even if there is some pap, sin, just come to me and I will free you from that sin. Thus, we have completed the most confidential instruction, the most confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Any questions, comments, realizations? I got a lot of silence today. I was hoping to be more interactive. Everybody, you want to explain something that struck you? All of you try to pick one point, please. Everybody, please try one point.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. And one point which I could appreciate was how in 9.34 uh, the responsibility is kind of us on us, and in 18.65 it is kind of showing more of Krishna's heart.
Very good. Very good. Rest of you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, the point I like the most is about the definition of surrender, that giving up our will and accepting Krishna's will.
Very good. Rest of you, I asked all of you to please explain at least one point. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, even the last line I felt is such a, like, Krishna is showing, like, he's saying that even if there's some sin, come to me. Whereas in Christianity, the prayers always say that, please forgive for us for our sins and we will forgive those who sin against us. But this line that, even if you have some sin, come to me, surrender to me and I will free you. I think that is quite a big statement.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Uh, I I like that Krishna explained that not just giving up all the activities, you have to do the devotional service and surrender unto me also.
Very good. Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, one point was very nice that devotion is internal, we feel in the heart, and service is expressing that in form of action.
Very good. Lalita?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the point I liked the most is the surrender can be in any form, like the even the ferocious Arjuna who is shooting arrows in the war ground, and Draupadi who begged in front of Krishna. So both the form of surrender is acceptable according to Krishna.
Very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I actually appreciate your first advice at the start of the class. Actually, I tried to answer that question, that spiritual endeavor, and I came out to the verses in 9.33, 34, 18.12. So everything I have changed, but I was not in a position to trust all these things to write the correct answer. And it is my opening to me that you have said you can't trust only on your own intelligence. You must talk, public consult with Guru Sadhu Shastro. That I actually forgotten.
Yeah,
That is
very good. Yeah, very good. So all of you should definitely make this your priority number one. Do not trust your own intelligence at the start. At the start of my spirituality, my mind, my intelligence is contaminated. I have to go to Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra are my intelligence. Very good. Thank you. Rest of you who have not spoken, we spoke so many points. Should have at least 1 point.
Hare Krishna. I thought abandon all variety of religion is demigod worship or other worships of other religions.
Yeah, you are correct. Okay, who is left? So many of you are still left. Mansi, Naresh, Pratyush, Raksha, Shivanshi, Subhash,
Prabhuji, you also mentioned the point that surrender to Krishna is not passive, it is an active state. That's why Prabhupada said devotional service instead of only devotion. That means you have to act on your devotion as well, and not just have devotion in your heart and not do anything.
Okay, very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So abandoning all the varieties of religion is not the only thing, but we along with it we also have to surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example of the hippies you mentioned that.
Very good. Yeah. So don't just do Sarva Dharman Parityaja. No, you have to do Sarva Dharman Parityaja and then say Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up that dharma that can take you to Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Very good.
Prabhuji, Lord Krishna said to forget all kinds of dharma and simply give yourself to him, and I'll save you from all your sinful actions, and don't be afraid.
Okay, very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, about surrender, moving away from agitative situation is also surrender. I like that part.
Okay, very good.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, looking at the verses 65, 66, I feel like Krishna very desperately wants us to take us back. He wants to convince us. But I have heard one statement say like, if you are not ready to help yourself, even God cannot help you. So I think I am not helping myself. I'm just thinking like that, Prabhuji.
Yeah, you are correct. So still don't beat yourself up. We are in a process. So we just continue our devotional activities more and more. And at some point of time, we will purify ourselves enough to go back home, back to Godhead. All right, so I've explained this earlier and I'll repeat that next week we'll be finishing our Bhagavad Gita discussions, and then from March 27th, will be 28th in India and Nepal, we will start Nectar of Instruction. So I'll share more details at our next class. So those of you who are in the catch-up situation, you can please connect with me offline. So some have already done. So I see Nabina. You can please connect with me offline and we can discuss the plan for you in terms of listening to recordings. Nabina, please call me offline.
Sincere Prabhuji.
So for rest of the time, we will now revise Bhagavad Gita's chapter 15 and 16. And we will start hearing from Ritu first. I will play the recording. Let's hear from Ritu for chapter 15.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna everyone. I request permission and blessings from all the devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru Parampara, Shri Radha Krishna. Please forgive me for my shortcomings and mistakes. Chapter 15 explains that Bhagwan is superior. Krishna is the ultimate reality, the greatest person, Purushottam. This is why the chapter in Sanskrit is titled Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person. In the first 11 verses, Krishna teaches that we must attain liberation through detachment, illustrated through the analogy of an upside down banyan tree. Otherwise, bondage and transmigration continues. The material world is an inverted banyan tree, a reflection of the spiritual world where everything is upside down. In the spiritual world, Krishna is the center and enjoyer. But here, the soul has seized that position under the illusion of I am the enjoyer. Desire is the water that creates this mirage, and driven by karma, the soul travels endlessly among the 14 planetary systems like a merry-go-round that never stops. Krishna says, do not try to understand this endlessly complicated material world. Simply take up the weapon of detachment and cut your attachment with firm determination, because the body is a trap of ignorance and the uncontrolled senses are pathways to destruction. All souls are Krishna's eternal fragmental parts, yet separated from Him. They struggle hard with the mind and senses, carrying their desires from body to body like wind carrying fragrance, serving the sense objects while declaring, I am enjoying. And only those with eyes of knowledge can see this entanglement, while the rest stumble about like drunkards, thinking they are having a wonderful time. The moment we turn sincerely toward Krishna, material attachment falls away naturally, just as darkness vanishes when the sun rises. To know Krishna is to know everything. To surrender to Krishna is to be free. Please forgive me for my shortcomings. Thank you, Prabhuji, for engaging me in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Super excellent. Monarch is next. You should be able to share your screen.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I request permission from all you devotees, Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, all the gurus in the disciplic succession, Sri Radha Krishna, to be able to speak on the topic of Bhagavad Gita. Please forgive me for any shortcoming. Today I'm presenting chapter 15, the Yoga of Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga, section 3, 4, and 5. So section 3 is how Krishna assists us in our material existence and our spiritual endeavor. And the verses are 15.12 to 15.15. Next, section 4 is essence of Vedanta, how Krishna is Purushottama, which is also called Shloki Gita, verses 16 to 18. And section 5 is to know Krishna means to know everything. Last couple of verses of chapter 15, 15.19 and 20. So the foolish soul cannot see without the eyes of knowledge. With the eyes of knowledge, one sees the soul is entangled in the material world and suffering. The first step is to develop Jnana Chakshu. We can perceive the Atma, but it cannot take a long time. The second is we can try to perceive the hand of God, meaning we can perceive the Krishna's role in our life, how Krishna assisting us in our material existence and spiritual endeavor. Even if we don't have Jnana Chakshu to perceive Atma, we can have some Jnana to perceive Krishna's hand, meaning perceive the higher arrangement. With Jnana, we can see how Krishna is assisting us in our material existence. First is at the level of universe. Sun's effulgence comes from Krishna. Material world is not self-illuminous like spiritual world. Without sun, nothing would have been possible. Second is at the level of planets and earth. Planets are sustained in orbits by Krishna. Gravity is working under Krishna's will. And then the third is at the level of body. Digestion of food happens by Krishna's arrangement. We cannot maintain our own body by ourselves independently. By recognizing all these, we can develop Jnana Chakshu that Krishna is maintaining us at all time. Thus, we can see hand of God. This is the first step in developing the Jnana Chakshu. And at the at the spiritual level of the soul, Krishna is assisting us by acting internally as Guru. He gives us remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Here is one point is very important to understand. When I forget scriptural teachings and succumb to Maya, it does not mean that Krishna is responsible because Krishna has given us forgetfulness. No, I am responsible because when temptation comes, it is I who contemplate and entertain desires. This word entertain, we can break down into two things: enter and retain. When desires coming, I am saying to Krishna that I have heard your instruction, but right now I don't care. I simply want to enjoy. Therefore, Krishna gives us forgetfulness so that I can fulfill my desire. I should not become desirer of desires. Rather, I have to show Krishna my eagerness that I want to remember Krishna. Example, in association of devotees studying scriptures, chanting, and when we are in devotional environment, this time it is relatively easy to remember Krishna. Krishna sees this from within, and hence Krishna will give me remembrance of Krishna's instructions. Krishna says that he himself is the compiler and knower of Vedas. He says this in Bhagavad Gita 15.15. Sarvasya chaham pradisannivista mata smrutir gnan apohanam cha vedeshva sarve ahameva vidya vedanta krideva videva chaham. Vedas are quite big, and hence Arjuna says, Krishna, if you are compiler of Veda, then can you please tell me what is the essence of Veda? And Krishna is responding that the essence of Veda is that Krishna is Purushottama. Now, there are two kinds of living being. One is fallible, meaning conditioned souls who are in the material world. And second is infallible, meaning liberated who are in the spiritual world. The Supreme Person is transcendental and is greatest and celebrated as Purushottama all over. And Supreme Person is beyond both fallible and infallible. Vedas talk about many things, but the most confidential knowledge is that the goal of Veda is to understand Krishna, Purushottama. Shloki Gita leads us to the conclusion that Krishna is the Purushottama, and knowing this should result in devotional service to Krishna. Krishna is Purushottama, the highest reality, and devotional service to Krishna is the highest and the easiest process to the liberation. That's a quick summary of chapter 15, section 3, 4, and 5. Please forgive me for any shortcoming. Hare Krishna.
Super excellent. Any questions, comments, realizations for presenters? All right, yes, both have done very good presentations. Let me also quickly summarize chapter 15. Chapter 15 is the most likable, most favorite chapter of devotees. It's Purushottam Yoga. So chapter 15 is titled The Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga. Chapter 15 explains how Krishna, Bhagwan, is the ultimate reality. Bhagwan is Purushottam, is the greatest person. Chapter 15 focuses on detachment from material world. The metaphor of the upside down banyan tree is to illustrate that things are opposite in the material world of the way it should be. So a tree is very complicated, strongly rooted. You cannot uproot a tree. And specifically the banyan tree is very, very strongly rooted. So we have to detach ourselves from the tree of material existence with determination. An example to understand this is, a prisoner cannot destroy the prison. Rather, prisoner can end his own prison sentence by good behavior. So we go upwards and downwards on branches, meaning we are going on upper and lower planets according to the reactions of our karma, as if we are on a merry-go-round. Srila Prabhupada says, as soon as one surrenders unto Krishna, one automatically becomes detached from this material world. So we do not have to renounce the world. Rather, we have to renounce the desire to enjoy the world. Renounce from kama. Renounce desire for sensual enjoyment. So stay equipoised in happiness and distress, and we should not be deluded by pride. The more we become attached to Krishna and devotional services, the more we will become detached from material world. Now, if we do not detach ourselves from material world attachments, then bondage and transmigration will continue. Even when we are eternal parts of Krishna, the souls are suffering and struggling because of mana shashtani indriyani. So 15.7 Krishna explains, Mama eva amsha jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. Mana shashtani indriyani prakriti stani karsati. That material world is a place of suffering, and that suffering is aggravated with the entanglement of mind and senses. The karsati means the struggling is happening because of mind and senses. The foolish soul cannot see without the eyes of knowledge. The foolish soul, he thinks, I am enjoying. Just as a drunkard thinks, I am enjoying. But a sober person, he sees that the drunkard is shackled by addiction. With the eyes of knowledge, with jnana chakshu, one sees that the soul is entangled in material existence and is suffering. So the first step in developing jnana chakshu can work in two ways. We can perceive the Atma, but that can take a very long time. Or we can try to perceive the hand of God. We can perceive Krishna's role in our day-to-day life, and we can see how Krishna is assisting us in our material existence and in our spiritual endeavors. Even if I do not have Jnana Chakshu to perceive Atma, I can still have Jnana of perceiving Krishna's hand around me, meaning to perceive the higher arrangement. With Jnana, see how Krishna is assisting us in our material existence. At the level of universe, the sun's effulgence comes from Krishna. Material world are not self-illuminous like the spiritual world. Without the sun, nothing would have been possible in the material world. At the level of Earth and planets, the planets are sustained in their orbit by Krishna. Gravity is working under Krishna's will. At the level of body, digestion of food happens by Krishna's arrangement. I cannot maintain my body by my own independent self. By recognizing all this, we can develop Jnana Chakshu, that Krishna is maintaining us at all times. This way we can see the hand of God. This is the first step in developing Jnana Chakshu. And at spiritual level of soul, Krishna acts internally as Guru and gives remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Krishna says in 15.15, Sarvasya chahaham hridhi sanivishto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sa sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedvid eva chaham. That when I forget scriptural teachings and succumb to Maya, does not mean Krishna is responsible because Krishna gave me forgetfulness. No, I am responsible because when temptations come, it is I who contemplate and entertain desires. Entertain means desires enter and I retain and I water the desires. So by this I am saying to Krishna, "Hey Krishna, I have heard all your instructions, but right now I don't care. Right now I just want to enjoy. Therefore Krishna gives me forgetfulness so that I can fulfill my desires. So I should not become desirer of desires. Rather, I have to show to Krishna my eagerness that I want to remember Krishna. So when we are in association of devotees studying scriptures like how we are doing right now, or chanting, or when we do devotional services, all these devotional environment, these times it is relatively easier to remember Krishna. So Krishna sees this from within and hence Krishna will give me remembrance of Krishna's instructions. Krishna says that he himself is the compiler of Vedas and knower of Vedas. Vedas is quite big. Therefore, when Arjuna heard this, Arjuna says that Krishna, if you are compiler of Vedas, then can you please tell me the essence of Vedas? This leads to the Tri-Shloki Gita, where Krishna describes the essence of Vedas is that Krishna is Purushottama. So there are two kinds of living beings. The fallible, meaning the conditioned living beings in the material world, and the infallible, the liberated beings in the spiritual world. The Supreme Person is transcendental, is the greatest, is celebrated as Purushottama all over. And this Krishna Purushottama is beyond both the conditioned and the liberated souls. Vedas talk about many things, but the most confidential knowledge is that the goal of Vedas is Krishna, Purushottama, and devotional service to Purushottama. Tri-Shloki Gita leads to the conclusion that Krishna is Purushottama. Knowing this should lead to devotional service to Krishna. Krishna is Purushottama, the highest reality, and devotional service to Krishna is the highest and the easier process to liberation. That's a quick summary of chapter 15. Any questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhuji, can you please explain one more time about how that Krishna gives us forgetfulness and how that's a good thing, please?
So, We all have heard Krishna's instructions that we should do devotional services. We should not enjoy our body and senses. Still, when temptations come, we give up Krishna's instructions. We tell to Krishna, yes, I have heard what you have said, but right now I don't care. Right now I just want to enjoy. So, for me to enjoy, I need to have forgetfulness of all these scriptural instructions, forgetfulness of the fact that I am eternal soul, forgetfulness that my swabhava, my intrinsic nature, is to serve Krishna. Only then I will be able to fulfill my desires, enjoy. Therefore, Krishna gives forgetfulness so that I can satisfy my desires. Now, it's not a good thing, but Krishna is just satisfying my desire to enjoy. Patush.
Yes, Prabhuji, understood.
All right, chapter 16, she will start and then we'll hear from Ria.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances and kindly forgive any mistakes on my part. With folded hands, I seek the blessings and permission of all the devotees, Ramvilas Prabhuji, His Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and Sri Sri Radha Krishna to speak on chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita titled Devi Asura Sampad Vibhag Yog, the Divine and Demoniac Natures. In chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna that human beings in this world are generally influenced by two natures known as the divine nature and the demoniac nature, and these natures determine a person's behavior, values, spiritual progress, and ultimate destiny. According to Vedic teachings, actions performed in the mode of goodness are considered auspicious because they support one's advancement towards liberation. Such actions are described as Devi Prakriti, meaning divine or transcendental in nature. A person established in this higher nature steadily progresses on the path to freedom from material bondage. In contrast, those who act under the influence of passion and ignorance cannot attain liberation. Instead, they remain bound within the cycle of birth and death, either continuing in human life or potentially falling to lower forms of existence, including animal or other lesser species. In the 16th chapter, the Lord describes the divine transcendental nature along with the qualities associated with it, as well as the demoniac nature and its characteristics. He further clarifies uh, he further clarifies the benefits of cultivating divine qualities and the drawbacks of possessing demoniac ones. The purpose of the social structure known as Varnashram Dharma, which divides which divides society into four social uh, light divisions and four occupational divisions or caste, is not to separate human society based on birth. These categories are based on educational backgrounds. They're responsible for maintaining a prosperous and peaceful society. The attributes listed here are described as transcendental attributes that contribute to a person's spiritual growth and eventually release them from the material world. Within the Varnashram system, the sannyasi is one who has accepted the renounced order of life and is regarded as the spiritual head of all social divisions. A Brahmana is the one who serves as a spiritual guide for the other three groups, namely Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. However, the uh, However, the sannyasi, being at the highest stage of spiritual life, is considered the spiritual master even of the brahmanas. The foremost qualification of sannyasi is fearlessness, uh, having renounced material security. He depends entirely on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To properly enter the renounced order, one must fully surrender to the Supreme. A sannyasi must, sorry, sorry, my voice is not supporting me. Okay, I'm gonna try again. A sannyasi must purify his life, and in this renounced order, there are many strict rules to follow. So basically, sannyasi is not allowed to have any close or intimate relation with women, and this is the duty of a sannyasi. If he is actually advanced, so as ordered by spiritual master, he should only preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. If one is not advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. Uh, Next is charity, and purpose of the charity is to help householders to make a living by respectable methods, and to donate half of the earnings to spread Krishna awareness, Krishna consciousness. Charity should also be done in the mode of goodness. Uh, in order to advance in the spiritual life, a householder should practice self control and to have children only in order to serve to Krishna. The Sankirtan Yagna should be done or by singing the Maha Mantra. And the most affordable method is by doing sacrifices, and which is only intended for householders. Charity, sense control, and performance of sacrifices are the three main items that should be done by the householders. Next is austerity or tapas, that is meant for later stages. A person should not remain as a householder, and there are four stages, that is brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. According to Vedic religious discipline, a man retired from household must practice austerities of the body, mind, and tongue. Uh, one should practice ahimsa, as that there is no need to kill animals when we have ample samples of clean fruits and milk for consumption. And a real ahimsa is not checking on anyone's progressive life. We have Satyam, which is speaking the truth. And in some parts of the Vedas, it is hard to understand if the real meaning should be learned from a genuine spiritual teacher. Then we have Akrodha, means controlling anger. We have Aipashuna, which means to not find fault with others or to correct them unnecessarily. Hiri means that one should be very modest and must not perform any form of act which is abominable. Then we have Achapalam, that is determination, and one should not become upset or frustrated during an endeavor. Socham has cleanliness, which should not only be on mind and body, but should also be in the dealings, and should also refer to it also refers to merchant class people. Uh, so Nati Manita, which is not expecting honor, is one quality that should be practiced by Shudra to offer respect to the higher classes for the keep of the social order. Last but not least is the demoniacs. They acquired these demoniac traits from the wombs of the mother bodies as they grew up because these qualities eventually manifest and grow. As Krishna speaks to Arjuna that he doesn't have to think because he's a demoniac and uh, he's because he's considering both the pros and cons of fighting with Kauravas, so he's not demoniac in nature. For Kshatriya, shooting arrows at the enemy is considered transcendental, and refraining from them is demoniac. So assured Arjuna that not to get worried, as he had divine qualities. Uh, so the conditioned living entities are categorized into two classes, uh, and the divine, where at one hand have adhere to scriptural instructions and they respect the assigned authorities, while on the other hand, the other section, the demoniac, disregard the laid principles. They do not follow any scriptures and act according to their own whims, and that is the reason why they're called asuric. The demons are generally not clean, either externally or internally, and they do not think because that the world is created by God. They constantly keep inventing to eh, satisfy the senses and also to enjoy the material world. And because of their materialistic innovations, the human civilization is always on the dirt, is always like has become more violent and cruel, and eventually they invent or construct because they want to because they they think of just destroying. So with this I conclude my humble presentation. I am really sorry if there was any mistakes. I sincerely request the devotees to kindly forgive any errors or shortcomings. Hare Krishna.
All right. Let's hear from Ria for the last part of chapter 16.
Hare Krishna. I would like to first seek permission and blessings from all assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, and Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna to present on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, sections 2 to 4. Chapter 16 is titled The Divine and Demoniac Natures, where the nature or qualities of the divine and demoniac people are described in detail. Section 1 of this chapter especially outlines this discussion. Krishna's intention behind discussing about the divine and demoniac nature in Bhagavad Gita is to help us understand that divine nature leads to liberation while demoniac nature leads to bondage. Section 2 of this chapter is from verses 10 to 18, which discusses about the activities of the demoniac. The two main activities of demoniac are sense gratification and collecting wealth. These are their primary focus. Anxieties are immeasurable for them as they are entangled in thousands of these desires, which are like invisible ropes, dragging and pulling the demoniac people. These anxieties last till the moment of their death, and their endless desires and attachment keep them bound. Unfulfilled karma leads to krodha, and fulfilled karma leads to lobha. Hence, both ways are a trap. Therefore, we must give up desires. The demoniac man knows no limit to his desire to acquire money and accumulate wealth, and in fact does not even hesitate to act in sinful ways. He thinks he is the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. A demoniac person believes in the strength of his personal work, thinks that all his mass of wealth is due to his own endeavor. He forgets that Krishna is the universal Bhoktara, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita verse 5.29. The demoniac think they are their own authority. They are absorbed in the delusion of wealth and prestige. Not only demoniac want glory of the worldly fame, but they also want glory of religious fame meaning people should also think of them as good persons. They give to charity only to earn name and fame. Demoniac don't want to surrender to God, but want to pretend to be religious in the world's eyes so that they get praise from the world for this. Religion is like a gymnasium for their ego rather than being a temple for their soul. Now let's move to section 3. Section 3 of this chapter starts from verse 19 and goes on till verse 22. It focuses on the consequences and causes of demoniac activities. That is, what is the result or what makes people do these demoniac activities. One who is demoniac has no faith in God, and nor does he have knowledge of Vedic scriptures. Therefore, he feels free to do anything for sense enjoyment, regardless of the consequences. They disregard rules and regulations of scriptures and do not know what to do or what not to do according to scriptures due to their ignorance and illusion. The consequences of demoniac mentality and activities is that they take birth in lower demoniac species. But what causes demoniac mentality and activities? It is nothing but lust, anger, and greed. These take a person to hell. A sane person should give up lust, anger, and greed as they are the royal road to hell. The Lord does not send the demoniac people to hell to suffer. Hell exists not just to cause us suffering, but to actually save us from suffering. The fear of going to hell for suffering is a consequence for committing sinful activities. If this wasn't there, then we would have continued to commit those sins. Once soul realizes this, they can reform, become sober, do devotional activity, and then return back to Godhead. Lastly, section 4, which are verses 23 to 24, outline the choice between divine and demoniac. That is, whether we want to act in divine way or demoniac way. If one wants to act in divine ways, then one must act according to scriptures. When one gives up scriptural injunctions, one acts in lust only. A demoniac person acts whimsically. That is, he knows that certain actions are forbidden by scriptures, but still he acts on them. Lust is an insatiable fire which keeps us perpetually dissatisfied, and indulging in lust is a fuel to this fire. We act in self-defeating ways when we act in lust, anger, and greed. These push us towards terrible and negative actions. We should therefore have freedom from lust, anger, and greed, or at least try to regulate them, as they make us blind to everything except the objects of desire. In the purport of Bhagavad Gita 2.71, Srila Prabhupada states that becoming desireless means not to desire anything for sense gratification. Rather, desire for becoming Krishna conscious is actual desirelessness. Therefore, we don't need to deny or reject our feelings, but we need to regulate and direct our feelings according to scriptures. Thus, it is important to understand from scriptures what is duty and what is not duty. Verse 24 directly talks about Shastra Chakshu. Because Shastras are free from 4 defects, we study scriptures to understand the principles of life by which we can attain the supreme destination. Mood, logic, fashion, and tradition are moving lighthouses. We cannot follow moving lighthouses. Scriptures are fixed lighthouses that we need to follow. In conclusion, we must change our association, that is, try to be in devotee association so that we can adopt better qualities. The quality of a person gets reflected through the activities one does. Scriptures or scriptural knowledge help us mold our lives, and with the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, we must aim to give up lust, greed, and anger so that we get elevated to the highest position of self-realization, which is perfected in devotional service. In that devotional service, we attain liberation. Thank you, Hare Krishna, and please forgive me for any mistakes and shortcomings.
Super, excellent. Any questions, comments, realizations for presenters? All right. Let me also quickly summarize. We are getting close to the end time. So chapter 16 is titled The Divine and Demoniac Natures. Daivi Asura Sampad Vibhagi Yoga. Krishna's focus of talking about the divine and demoniac nature is to help us understand that divine nature leads to liberation and demoniac nature leads to bondage. If I want to act in divine way, then I have to act according to scriptures. Divine consider the 26 qualities to be their wealth. Some of these divine qualities are cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi is meant for distributing knowledge to all. Next quality is charity. Charity is not just an activity, rather, charity is mentality. One should give charity regularly to develop the mentality of giving. Then next is sense control. Husband and wife should see each other as partners in spiritual journey, as well as fellow devotees. A sacrifice for Kali Yuga is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Other qualities are such as studying scriptures, performing austerities, being non-violent, not becoming angry. Another important quality is aversion to fault finding. Aversion to fault finding is to see the spiritual potency in others. Characteristics of advanced devotee is that he does not have any inclination to criticize anyone because the devotee sees everyone's spiritual potential. Another is one does not demand respect rather than praise inflating my ego. A serious devotee can use praise to deflate my ego because the devotee knows that I know my anarthas, that I am so unworthy. Still, Krishna is so great that Krishna is using even me, the unworthy soul, in his service. Krishna is so great that he can use even an unworthy instrument like me in service. Now, the demoniac quality, ungodly and demoniac people think pride, arrogance, harshness, lust, anger are their strength. This is their wealth. They think I want to have these more and more so that I can enjoy more and more. This is demoniac. And this is a royal road to hell. What I consider as my wealth, I will hold it close to me. Hence, these qualities become my nature. Now, who is a demon? Demon is more of a mentality. What defines an evil person is not their appearance, but their conscience, their qualities, their motivation. When evil is ugly, it is easy to identify and to stay away from it. But when evil appears classy, it is much easier to get influenced by it. By understanding that evil is more of an inner intention rather than outer appearance, we can be more aware of with whom we associate and, more importantly, who we get influenced by. Pravritti and Nivritti, scriptures tell us certain do's and don'ts. Demoniac people do not care for Pravritti and Nivritti. They do not care for these do's and don'ts. This is the behavior of demoniac. The activities of demoniac are sense gratification, wealth as their primary focus. Their anxieties are immeasurable because there are thousands of desires as invisible ropes pulling and dragging them. These anxieties last till the last moment of their death. Unfulfilled karma leads to krodha, and fulfilled karma leads to lobha. Both ways is a trap. No one is equal to Krishna, but demoniac think, who is as good as me? I am wealthy and surrounded by aristocrat people. So not only demoniac want the glory of worldly fame, rather the demoniac also want the glory of religious fame. That people should also think of me as a good person. I shall give some charity, and this way I shall rejoice. The demoniac do not want to surrender to God. They just want to pretend to be religious in the world's eyes so that they will get praise from the world for that. The consequences of demoniac mentality and activities is that they take birth in lower demoniac species. The causes of demoniac mentality and activities are lust, anger, and greed that take a person to hell. The choice between divine and demoniac is that if I want to act in divine way, I have to act according to scriptures. When one gives up scriptural injunctions, one acts in lust only. Lust is insatiable fire. Lust keeps us perpetually dissatisfied, and indulgence acts as fuel to fire. We do not have to deny or reject our feelings. Rather, we regulate and direct our feelings according to scriptures. Therefore, from scriptures, we understand what is duty and what is not duty, because scriptures are free from 4 defects. We study scriptures to understand the principles of life and mold our life accordingly. By this, we will be able to attain Param Gatim, attain supreme perfection. Mood, fashion, tradition, and logic are like moving lighthouses. They keep moving themselves. We cannot follow a moving lighthouse. Scriptures are fixed lighthouses that we need to follow. Therefore, chapter 16 ends with Shastram Vidim, that we follow the scriptures. That's a quick summary of chapter 16. Any questions, comments, realizations? All right, we are just about close to 10:30 Toronto time. So as I said at the start, that next week we'll be finishing Bhagavad Gita, and I'll explain the process for the next set of scriptures starting with Nectar of Instruction. Those in the catch-up mode can please connect with me. Some of you have already done. Those who have not yet can please connect with me as soon as possible, and we'll discuss the appropriate plan for you. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.